Hey everyone, Couch Investor back on our earnings video for today. So in today's video, we're going to talk about Mercadolibre. Again, an incredible quarter, credible company and management is executing at the top level. Yes, they might have missed revenue estimates by just $10 million, but it still grew 44% year over year. And they beat on earnings per share on a GAAP basis, not on a non-GAAP, on a GAAP basis, and they're still growing 44% year over year. So incredible business overall. We're going to go over the earnings report. If you missed the last two videos about PayPal and Block, do check that out. That's going to be in the top right corner. Now, with regards to maybe the questions that some of you might have with regards to Mercadolibre, is this peak Mercadolibre? Is this going to come down anytime soon? Because how come that they are growing so fast when, well, the macro environment overall is not that great? So they did give us during the earnings call a bit of a positive note on that front. So this was an answer to the question of how healthy is the consumer. So this year we don't see any indication of any significant weakening in the consumer spend so far. So far across most geos, nothing significant to report. Argentina potentially is the country where we are seeing some level of weakening. If you're not aware, Argentina, the economy there is not in a good shape. But elsewhere, nothing to call out at this point, and we'll go through the full quarter in February. Also in Q4, it's an amazing quarter for, well, a company like Mercadolibre because you have Black Friday, you have the World Cup, and you have Christmas as well. So positive events for the company. They're just for Mercadolibre, Amazon, Alibaba, and companies like that as well. But as you will see in this earnings report, well, the future is very, very bright. Now, if you want to support me and this channel, maybe hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you have not. And do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor and maybe you might get the next Mercadolibre. Who knows? So first up, a couple of highlights here with regards to the marketplace. So Mercadolibre, Mercado Pago, Envios, Credito. I've covered the whole ecosystem in the past. If you want to check that out, please do so. So first up, GMV. So they see here that GMV growth accelerated to 32%, with each of their largest markets delivering a solid performance. As you can see here, although they do think that Argentina for the next quarter might be on the weaker side, for this quarter, it was actually a pretty strong area. Unique buyers reach 42.5 million in Q3, the highest level in Mercadolibre's history, with growth of 10% year over year. And item purchase per buyer was broadly stable in Q3, which is good. Obviously, it is a drop from Q4 2021, but maybe that's to be expected right now coming out of the pandemic. It's pretty nice to see it stabilize instead of dropping off completely. Now, with regards to the items sold year over year growth here, there's still growth in almost all the areas. Now, with regards to the logistics, so Mercado Envios, almost 276 million items were shipped through Mercado Envios in the quarter. 55% of the deliveries were made same day or next day, whilst almost 80% of deliveries were within 48 hours. Mexico and Chile delivered the biggest year-on-year gains in the 48-hour delivery. Now, as you can see, the penetration here by country still very, very high. And of course, we've seen this with Amazon. We're seeing this now with Shopify as well. When you own the supply chain, when you own the logistics network, your margins eventually will go up. Of course, it's a big investment to make, but for the long-term future, it's one that will pay off handsomely. And now with Mercado Pago. So first up, we're going to talk about the acquiring and digital accounts, unique fintech users, and then the on and off platform. So for the digital account TPV, that reached $10.6 billion with growth of 138% on an FX neutral basis. When it comes to unique fintech active users, that surpassed 40 million for the first time with 32% growth year over year. They also have 22.4 million wallet players, growth year over year and quarter over quarter as well. They also have more than 26 million users of their asset management service. And now when it comes to the on and off platform for TPV, so it reached $32.2 billion on a consolidated basis, growing 76% on FX neutral basis. Now off-platform TPV grew 122% on FX neutral basis, sustaining a rate of FX neutral growth above 100% for the fourth consecutive quarter. They also processed more than 1.4 billion transactions this quarter, a growth rate of 66% year over year. All major countries posted solid growth. Now, overall, fintech revenues were $1.2 billion related to persistent TPV growth, as we've seen, and, well, 115% growth year over year. And now Mercado Credito, the credit side of the business, which is always the, let's say, talk of the earnings call, especially this one. I feel that most of the questions were with regards to this side of the business. Now, it did improve. It did improve this quarter. Now, as you can see right here, IMAL spread. IMAL is interest margin after losses. It's now 37.1%, and that's despite some margin compression in the Brazilian consumer book, which does not hinder its healthy profitability. All Argentine books and the Mexican consumer book have either maintained or expanded their spreads, contributing to the overall improvement. Now, obviously, that was not the case last year, where we've seen the spread go from 39.5% to 24.4%. So that was raising a lot of questions. Right now, we're seeing some improvements there. Also seeing some diversification here across the board. Now, I do want to talk about what I said during the earnings call, because that can summarize this segment pretty fast. So Mercado Credito's portfolio reached $2.8 billion, growing at a slower rate than in past quarter as they slowed originations. This is a reflection of our prioritization of risk management and margin over growth. Our credits business delivered a resilient financial performance with annualized IMAL spread, as I just mentioned, to almost 37%. Our early NPLs are stable versus the prior quarter, which is a reflection of the steps we took to mitigate risks in a weaker lending environment, particularly in Brazil. Now, obviously, in Brazil, there were also the elections, and apparently right now there is an ex-convict that's going to be president, but hey, no surprise there. I just hope Brazil does not turn into another Venezuela or the current state of Argentina, which is obviously also one of the risks of investing in a Latin American company. Just have to put it out there. All right, now as for the take rate for commerce and fintech, we have seen some improvements there. The commerce take rate has increased year over year to 17%, mainly because of a positive push from the ad side. When it comes to fintech, we see that the credits revenue is the one that has pushed it higher. Now, it is a bit lower than Q2, but it's higher than Q3 2021. And when it comes to gross profit expansion, we can see here a big one reaching 50.1%, and that's up 667 basis points from last year. Why? Well, because the whole ecosystem is working. And you can see this from an operating margin as well, up 240 basis points, reach 11%. But they did take a small hit, a 32 basis point hit when it comes to net income margin, largely due to efficiencies in COGS. So that's the positive side. That did not make it drop even more, but they did take a big hit with regards to OPEX and FX. This quarter, the company also generated $724 million cash from operations. It increased its total cash by $275 million. It also increased their cash pile by $343 million. And so to conclude, when you take everything into consideration, this earnings report, everything that's happening in Latin America, everything that's happening with the dollar, with the US economy, with the world economy, I mean, this was a extremely good quarter. And time again, management shows us that they're a world-class team. This is why Mercadolibre is one of my largest holdings in my portfolio. It's big. It's a big company. I don't expect it to 100x, but it's not that big that I can't see it being a potential multi-bagger in the long term. By multi-bagger, obviously not a 100-bagger, but I could see it increase significantly over the years because As you've seen with the mega caps in the United States, big can become even bigger. And Mercadolibre is dominating Latin America. It's a huge, huge opportunity for the long term. Obviously, right now with the world economy, there are some risks to it, but they'll come out of it much, much stronger. Obviously, do share your thoughts down in the comments below. What you think about this quarter? Maybe do you own Mercadolibre? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.